Hello, for those who have joined, that's your grid. But yeah, those who were 21st and 22nd, they're starting and racing in the pit lane. So yeah, we will be going live in a second. If you have any questions or predictions, please chuck them in there. As I can see Tom and Rodrigo saying hi to one another. Now, let's get this started, shall we? I'm gonna quickly close my door so you just have me and just me. Yeah. Let's go to the race. It's 52 laps here at Silverstone. Lewis Hamilton, home GP, he is the most successful driver at Silverstone, but the Sauber of Verstappen slightly outpaced. It was a mixed weather quali session, so that does explain quite a bit, as I'm going to quickly retire my two cars. As Liam Lawson looks like he's also taken a pit pen. Or it's that he's just had a shocking start. But anyways, away we go. I'm gonna try and get to the front as quick as possible. As you can see there, Teo Porsche around the outside of Sergio Perez. But Perez will continue to fight the V-carb, as they're both on soft. It's gonna be a multi-stop strategy. I think it's 2 or 3 here. As you can see now, down into Woodcote and Luffield, Brooklands, and just so many corner complexes. But currently we see Leclerc lead away. The Red Bull really finding its footing once again here, as the last time out in Austria, Charles Leclerc took a win in a fairly commanding race, even though the likes of Russell and that did go longer and therefore led most of it. But currently we have a fairly simplistic start, not too much action, as Perez fastest a lap on lap 1. DRS is now enabled. Valtteri Bottas getting quite close behind Lando Norris, as we can see a lot more action downfield, as it's Russell versus Verstappen, who were both caught out with the tricky and wet conditions. The track was drying up, they came out at the wrong time and therefore lost out quite severely, as you've got Alonso fighting the 2 McLarens. As there we go, Lawson to the inside, almost makes contact with Alonso, but they will continue on where they are in their respective 18th, 19th and 20th places. As you can see there, Carlos Sainz having a little fight with Daniel Ricciardo over P9, as Antonelli is actually keeping up with the front runners. He's having a look to possibly overtake Yuki Tsunoda here on lap 3 of 52. Will he be able to do it? DRS is now in use. The Haas are looking really strong here. Did Alonso have a change of components? Yes he did. So did Lawson and Colapinto. Alonso and Colapinto has been stated in the quali results below the images. But yeah, now Bottas all over the back of Sergio Perez. DRS on the Ferrari for the Haas, unable to get past as of now, as Porsche leads to Leclerc, then Norris, as we start the 4th lap here. And now Leclerc surely going to regain the lead here. He's got DRS on Teo Porsche. To the inside he goes. He's on mediums. He's going to try and go a bit longer in this first stint, and hopefully maybe go to hards and try and go to the end on 1 stop. If not, I think it'll be a medium soft race. As you can see there, Leclerc out of Chapel. Porsche and Norris now with DRS to use. Porsche to the outside, into the lead he goes. Norris is going to try and make it 2 moves in a matter of corners, unable to do so here. As now Norris looks to the inside, but just tucks in as you go through turn 1. And now Leclerc back with DRS on Terry Pourchaire, running up into the second sector they go. Leclerc down the inside, and he is up and through into the lead once more. This is going to be quite a common trend, just swapping places for the lead. That's just how close the cars are to one another. As currently we are yet to see a DNF, as Leclerc defends to the inside of Pourchaire, just able to get more traction around the outside. As you can see there, Perez fighting Norris over P3. Is the car number 4 about to drop to P4? No, he won't. He will hang on to his podium place. But there's Perez to the outside. He's still fighting through Village and the loop. But Perez now finally backs off and lets Norris have it. But who won't be letting another guy have it is Charles Leclerc and Terry Pourchaire. Pourchaire now pushing, heading up to Copse Corner now through Woodcote. They all go, but unable to get the lead as of now. And now Norris, DRS on Pourchaire, who has DRS on Leclerc. Looks like they've tried to go 3 wide, but Pourchaire up into the lead. Easy picking, as there's Sergio Perez trying to re-attempt an overtake. That's all gone to rubbish. As you can just see how close they all are. We can change to the leader, and it's just 2.5 between top 7, 3.1 in the top 8. As there's Leclerc overtaking for a lead. He squeezed out Pourchaire and brought out yellow. It's a crash involving multiple cars, it says. It was just that bit of contact there during, what's the corner name? I think it's Luffield. As now Pourchaire chasing after Leclerc, who has now broke the DRS range of Lando Norris. Could be some damage coming. Incident involving Leclerc and Pourchaire. No penalties are given here, as we will go back to the interval between the drivers. I'd be expecting to see some of the soft runners pit in the next 10 or so laps, but you can see most of them are on the softs. Alonso fastest lap on the race, as Piastri is currently unable to work his way up through the field, whereas Russell and Verstappen have. May be showing the weakness of the Red Bull here, as you can see that Pourchaire, Norris and Perez all trying to get as close as they can to Charles Leclerc to try and launch an attack. But will there be one? No, there won't, but what there will be is an overtaking attempt for Antonelli on Yuki Tsunoda. He doesn't get the move done against the Mercedes as of current, but they will continue to fight, and so will Ricciardo, Sainz and Russell. Russell overtakes on the outside of turn 1. Absolute beautiful move for the Ferrari. Russell really trying to get the best out of it. He's down the inside of Sainz, as you serious boys a mechanical fault after component changes. Down. All I know is Tom's waffled in my chat, but yeah, we will move on, as there's Antonelli losing the place to Yuki Tsunoda, as Bottas really getting close behind Perez, as they are all still mighty close at the end of lap 10, as Russell has actually promoted himself to P9. I think that Ferrari is going to catch this group, and we will see a very big scale fight over the race lead here. As there's Ricciardo versus Sainz. It came up at top screen saying mechanical fault to Alonso. Fair enough, but you can't take it out on Alonso. It's not what he does, it's what the car does. But yeah. Anyways, Ricciardo currently P10. 1 point for the Alpine. Yeah, can't see it due to fastest lap, it doesn't overlay. But Ricciardo now fending off the Williams and Sauber, as Russell has actually chimed in here. He's just outside of a second from Antonelli, who is currently within DRS range of the leader. As you can see there, Ricciardo and Sainz contact through Luffield, and that's what the crash involving multiple cars was, if I'm correct. As it does look like those who had the pit lane start, Alonso, Lawson and Colapinto, just don't have pace here. They aren't really catching this battle. But we can see there Pierre Gasly overtaking Isaac Hadjar. No penalties given for the incident between Sainz and Ricciardo there, as Behrman has a good opportunity to possibly try and move himself up closer to the points, as Verstappen now leads this train. And just like what Russell done, he is probably going to start dropping the ball over the next lap or so, as there's currently no overtaking in this front group, apart from just subtle intermissions between cars. Porsche dropping off from Leclerc there. He's had a poor run through Maggots and Beckett, but look at all that kerfuffle going on. Bottas round the outside of Norris, and he's through. Hamilton now down the inside of Norris, but Norris will hold on, as Russell has promoted himself up into P8 on Andrea Kimi Antonelli. Yellow flags, but for what? It was Pierre Gasly locking up in Vale. As you can see there, he just goes deep more than anything. Not anything too massive, not anything too major. And now Russell, he's got his eyes set on Yuki Tsunoda. It's been a very good drive as a whole for that Ferrari. He started around P15 or whatever. He's up into P8, as there's Antonelli trying to re-promote himself into the top 8. Russell DRS on Yuki Tsunoda. He goes to the outside and up and through he goes. Théo Pourchaire, he's lost quite a few places over the last lap, as Perez now trying to launch an attack on the race leader to the inside of Leclerc. Leclerc just better traction, he hangs on, as Valtteri Bottas, after Haas have been pointless for so many races, he's on the podium at the moment. As you can see, the black and white Haas car just behind the Ferrari, as they now run up into Copse Corner. Any possible overtakes? Not at the moment. Norris really struggling, I'd say, in terms of his driver's campaign. As long as he beats Russell, Russell will take the lead of the drivers. And into the pits goes it goes Hamilton, not the two Saubers, and then Antonelli follows him through. Hadjar and Sainz also in the pits. Hamilton onto the mediums and simply driving through the Haas on the exit. As Gasly, now Behrman with DRS on the Mercedes. Is their move? Not yet. Currently the Silver Arrow hanging on to whatever he has, as it's clearly not 10th, as there are a few cars who have pitted, like Antonelli, Hamilton, Hadjar, Sainz, who, if I'm correct, were all ahead. As Bottas now into the pits, takes the lead for a brief moment as he gets logged closer to the line. But currently now we see the true fight. A fight which I think could determine your drivers and constructors. Leclerc versus Perez, Norris, Porsche, Russell, all in the top 5. As Ricciardo, he's dropped off. Verstappen hit with a pit stop issue here. He's out 9 seconds behind Antonelli, and with Hadjar on his back. As this is really the stage of race where the field starts spreading out a bit. As currently Porsche dives into the pits, George Russell up into P4 now. If they were to finish in this formation, Ferrari would take the championship lead at the end of this race, and George Russell will be second in the drivers post-race. So this just shows how close it all is. And now Norris, he's going for a charge. Is he going to find a decent exit to maybe mount an attack on Perez or Leclerc? Hamilton, he's currently 5th place. He's a 10th or so ahead of Bottas, as there's Perez round the outside of Charles Leclerc. None of the top 3 in at the moment. They keep on pushing. You can see the tyre percentages now. I will be honest, the top 4 only cars who haven't pitted yet will be pitting in the next 3 or so laps, as there's a yellow flag out on track, who for Alex Albon, I believe, as Antonelli, fastest lap of the race. He's done that numerous times this season. It's Yuki Tsunoda, however. He was fighting towards the podium, but he just spins it through Vale. And there's Antonelli going past. So lucky that Antonelli didn't clip the Mercedes, because otherwise he definitely would not have that fastest lap point. Now, Leclerc fighting Perez to the inside. The Red Bull unable, but all 3, and even Russell, into the pits. Ferrari will have to have a mega double stack here. There goes Ferraris. Russell's held up at the back, as Leclerc will be coming out as your leader. Porsche fastest lap. Bottas leads this race here at Silverstone. Then it's Hamilton, Porsche, Antonelli, then Charles Leclerc. So boy oh boy, we have had a big switch up, as Haas seem to have had their upgrades come in quite swiftly here at Silverstone, with both cars in decent points playing positions. But however, Charles Leclerc, he's all over the back end of Andrea Kimi Antonelli. There's 2 seconds between Leclerc and Perez. Leclerc with DRS on the Haas, to the inside he goes, up into P4 for a brief moment, but Antonelli just better traction on the outside of Stowe. He's holding on, which is good, especially for Bottas, who is currently your race leader on lap 20 here. But based off the top 2, if the top 2 is to stay how it is, we will see a 6th race winner this season. Leclerc's won 3, Norris has won 2, Russell's won 1, Porsche's won 1. So yeah, we do have a fight on our hands. As I'm just going to open up the database of it so I can actually see the standings and have them running, because this is a really big race for it. As yeah, we've had Porsche win 1, Russell and Norris 2, Leclerc 1, well, 3 times. As yeah, there's Leclerc fighting Antonelli now, with Norris at the back of him as well. Yellow flag somewhere. And
yes,
yes
we have. We've had a crash. What happened there?
As it looked like it was this between Leclerc and Antonelli, which has just gone a little clip to the back. Probably won't be a penalty. We've seen similar in this race, as the 2 McLarens are fighting at the back with themselves, which at least is keeping them entertained, while Alonso pushes for P16. As there goes Perez down the inside of Norris. Perez knowing he needs to do some work, especially for the sake of Ferrari here, because they are in this title fight with the VCARB. VCARB currently going to be extending their advantage over Ferrari if they finish this way. But if they don't, then Ferrari should be catching. As Perez 7th, Russell 8th, with the 2 VCARBs 3rd and 6th here. It's been a good weekend so far, and it's been a great weekend for Russell, even though he had a fairly poor quali. He's worked his way back up, but who is working their way back up is your man who started from pole. He's up into P4. Can he now drop the ball with Andrea Kimi Antonelli and maybe push up to Théo Pourchaire, who is on the podium at the moment? As Red Bull really seem to have come back to life here in this championship. Leclerc looking extremely competitive after his really poor run of form. Leclerc currently about 34 points off George Russell in the standings, 38 off Lando Norris, and it will be about 4 points he's gaining on Norris here, so that's good for him. As you can see there, Norris to the outside of both Antonelli and Leclerc, and up into P4 he goes. Could it be Norris's turn to try and run away? As Perez dueling with Antonelli up into P6 goes the Ferrari. Antonelli has now missed out. George Russell, however, starting to catch this battle just up ahead of him, as Valtteri Bottas is extending his lead here over Lewis Hamilton. As we can have a look at the tyres, as you can see, almost all of them have to pit again. They probably won't be able to make it to the end. Even Norris, I don't think he will. So yeah, we have got quite a bit of racing on our hands here, as it looks like it's a two-stopper here, as Leclerc trying to find a way back past Lando Norris after being a lap stuck behind him. There's Perez, who looked to the outside but didn't make a move, and now Leclerc gets some DRS assistance on Lando Norris. To the inside he goes, but just too far back to try and actually make a move stick. And now you can see there Russell to the inside of Antonelli. He had a look into Copse, but thought it would be better if he didn't do it there, due to how high stakes it is. And now you can see there almost 3 wide between Norris, Perez and Leclerc. Leclerc up into P4, Norris almost even dropping to P6 with Perez right up his heels. Russell, however, overtakes Antonelli into P7 here. As, I'll be honest with you, if you saw the grid, you probably wouldn't be able to imagine this pecking order, with Bottas finding about 5 places. He's doing a great drive at the moment. He is even pulling away from Hamilton and Pourchaire, as Leclerc starting to catch them, as Norris now DRS on the Red Bull. To the outside he goes. You can see there's Pourchaire. You can see Russell even trying to overtake his teammate, which he has done, as Norris has moved himself up into P4. Norris now 1.3 off Pourchaire. The moment he gets within DRS range of his teammate is the moment he can safely say that he is no longer under threat from Leclerc. We've seen how difficult it is to overtake a car when you both have DRS, as there's Perez now ahead of Russell. Leclerc unable to do it into Brooklands and Luffield, so therefore Norris is now within DRS range of his teammate. An absolute massive chance for Norris to extend his advantage over the likes of Charles Leclerc. To the outside he goes. Easy does it, as he's up into P3. Leclerc unable to swiftly make a move up into P4. Andrea Kimi Antonelli into the pits on lap 28. What compound will he be going on? Could it be the hards? No, it's for the softs for the remaining 24 laps. He's guaranteed a free stop here, unless he really nurtures the life out of him. And now you can see Pourchaire leading this kerfuffle over P3, as they are catching Hamilton, who is kind of matching Bottas's pace. So as a whole, this group are the fastest cars on the track. As you can see, the gap between first and last is roughly the equivalent of Sector 2 and a bit of Sector 3. So really ain't that too far spread. As Isaac Hadjar now into the pit for Alpine. Big chance for him to possibly try and undercut as far as up to his teammate as we've seen how powerful it has been all season long. As now Pourchaire, he's trying to push himself past Hamilton, as Norris and Leclerc are trying to push themselves past the other two. Now Pourchaire with DRS, Norris to the inside, as Pourchaire on the outside. He's up past Hamilton. Hamilton now has to defend from Lando Norris. As could it also mean Pourchaire has a chance to hunt down Bottas, as it already seems like the gap is dropping. As there's yellows. I think that was Max Verstappen. He locked up into Vale here. We can have a look. He already went live in Stowe, showing that he may not have the best grip. He just goes head on.
Too much damage to the tyres.
And that is him down. As what this race could mean for Haas is a lot, because Bottas just single-handedly finishing in first, even a podium, will move himself and the team up into the top 6 or so of the standings and drop Alpine down. So we know how high stakes it is. Bottas now into the pits. What is this Haas going on to? If it's mediums, he's going to the end. If it's softs, he may have to try. He's under hards. He is safely going to the end with that. As that looks like that's the strategy for a 2-stop. And now Norris into the lead here. He will overtake Pourchaire. And now it's a V-carb 1-2 with Ferrari down in 5th and 6th. It's not been the strongest of races for the Ferraris, but it's also not been the strongest of races for the Red Bull, as yeah, most cars in the top 4 constructors did get caught out in quali, such as Hamilton, Verstappen, Perez, Russell, Piastri, but there's Leclerc overtaking Hamilton 4P3 here. Can Hamilton fight back though? He will get DRS, so will Leclerc though. Pourchaire having a little glance on Lando Norris, as Piastri, Behrman, Sainz and Lawson all in the pits. As Hadjar comes out just behind Oscar Piastri. So that is good placement. Especially how Piastri could gun for top 9 in this race. Pourchaire overtaken by Charles Leclerc. Leclerc now going to try and catch Lando Norris here. As I wonder who will win. Anyone in chat want to predict? Go at it. I'm personally putting my money out there for Valtteri Bottas. He's triggered another undercut. He's on the hards. He's probably going to come out a good 6 seconds or so ahead of the likes of Lando Norris, as Leclerc is leading this fight over P2. As Hamilton fending off from the 2 Ferraris as of now. He won't get DRS, but George Russell will. To the outside goes the Ferrari. Up into P4 he goes. He started around P15 here. He is only 1 place off of a podium. And that podium man at the moment is Terry Pourchaire. But look at how close he is already. Could he go for it into the loop? And Luffield, no. Not into loop. But now DRS in play. Heading up to Luffield and Brooklands. Down the inside. Simply lovely, as Max Verstappen would say. However, his race has not been that. He's down in P16. While Russell, who started behind him, is fighting for possibility of a win. He is now within a second of Charles Leclerc. He's going to get DRS on Leclerc to drag him closer. You can see there Pourchaire under threat from Hamilton. Hamilton round the outside, and up goes the Sauber. But will Perez even make it worse for Terry Pourchaire? He's catching, but then Pourchaire looks like he is matching Hamilton's pace throughout this first sector, which will make it very difficult indeed for a change in position, as there's Russell making a change in position over P2. As there is your gap to leader for each car. This race really split up into 2 battles, I'd say fight for top 7, and then fight from 10th downwards. As there's your tyre percentages. Russell and Leclerc are probably going to be pitting in the next lap or so. Norris will be taking it another few laps longer. As this tyre delta here is going to mean everything when it comes to catching Bottas in the latter stages of this race. Sergio Perez currently unable of overtaking Pourchaire. But he moves to the outside for Copse Corner, and he will just swoop past the Ferrari so much better in terms of top speed. Perez doesn't even need the RS and he's up into 5th. He will now get it on Hamilton, who has caught up with George Russell, who now limbers into the pits. Leclerc will be in probably next lap as a reaction. So will Hamilton, I think. But where does Russell come out compared to Bottas? He was 3 seconds off Lando Norris. And he comes out, no, he's about 5 seconds off Norris. He's came out a good 11 or so seconds off Bottas. So Bottas, he's got a really commanding lead as Daniel Ricciardo fastest lap. He's right up behind Franco Colapinto here. He will get DRS. He moves to the inside, lines up a move. Up he goes into P10. Oscar Piastri currently in P9. Currently an advocate for good results at Red Bull. Hamilton and Leclerc now both in pits. Who's going to come out ahead of who? Leclerc now out of his pit box as Hamilton enters him. This has to be a good stop. Onto the softs he goes. He's out behind Leclerc, who's also on the softs, as they both came out behind George Russell by a good few seconds. But how much will one tyre in terms of delta benefit Red Bull and Sauber? As Antonelli, he's currently having a fairly quiet race. He's in P8, he's doing well. He could get points for Haas this weekend. If so, move himself out of the bottom 3 of the standings, who are all drivers currently yet to score. That is currently Antonelli, Lawson and Hadjar. As the 2 V-carbs into the pits, you see there's Pourchaire. Norris probably held him up in the pit box as Norris comes out behind George Russell, who is 10 seconds off of Valtteri Bottas, who currently seems like he's on a roll to win this race. It's going to be such a statement for Haas here. Both cars in the points, both cars shooting towards the top of the standings in this race. As Bottas about to catch Perez to an extent where he could overtake with DRS. Russell, however, chipping the gap down to Bottas and pulling away from Norris. When will Bottas overtake the Ferrari? He doesn't go to the inside. Russell fastest lap, 27.4 here for the Ferrari. DRS now with Bottas. To the inside he goes. Up into the lead goes the Finnish driver. Will he finish there, however? As Russell now 5 seconds back from Sergio Perez, who is still within a second of Valtteri Bottas. As they go through Maggots, Beckis and Chapel, Perez does detect DRS, but he won't use it. Russell still catching. The Ferrari flying, so is the RB. Into the pits goes Sergio Perez. Probably great timing as Russell won't get held up. Yellow flags for Pourchaire, who has ran wide in Vale by looks of it. No, it was in Stowe. As you can see there, Hamilton and Leclerc having a fight for position. Round the outside goes Hamilton into farm. He's up into P4. He is now starting to farm his way through the field and possibly look his way towards a top 3. But Leclerc reacts quite swiftly. The man who started on pole, he probably won't win, but at least he can get a podium. A decent set of points for Red Bull as his teammate Oscar Piastri. As long as he finishes ahead of Verstappen, he holds on to 8th in this championship. And then, yeah, There's no way he can get overtaken in this race unless Ricciardo wins with fastest lap and then Piastri doesn't score. That way will mean Ricciardo overtakes him on count back, and then yeah. But currently it looks like Verstappen won't be able to catch the Red Bull of Oscar Piastri, as it doesn't look like Leclerc will catch this Haas of Bottas with just over 10 laps to go, about 10.5 to go, 2 seconds between Bottas and Russell. You can have a look at tyres, a look at how much more tyres Russell has than the Haas car, as Antonelli has had to pit again here. He's just thrown away a points opportunity, but how quickly can he work his way through the field? He's got 10 or so seconds to Verstappen and Tsunoda. There's 10 laps to go. If you add it all up, he will need to do an overtake a lap just so he can guarantee he gets there. So that's the dynamic we could follow along with for the remainder of this race. But this is a more important one. Who wins? Bottas, Russell or Norris? With Leclerc 6 seconds down the road. Russell DRS on Bottas to the inside. No, looks to the outside, but still unable to. He goes to the outside for Vale. Norris now having a look to see if he can become second place and try and push his way up. But no, currently the Ferrari and V-Carbs, they put in P2 and P3, but they will get DRS now coming out of Village. There you go, down onto the hanger straight. And there we go, Russell up into the lead here. He can now officially let off a bit and just relax, as currently is the Haas still on the podium, as Leclerc has massively dropped the interval to these three. So could Leclerc come into some contention for the win here? Bottas still hanging on with George Russell. He is not letting him go anywhere with 8 laps left. Now 8 laps. Who will win? I still think Bottas, if he can play it right, but he is now desperately hanging on by a thread with George Russell. He does get DRS there, he will pull himself along, but Russell now 1.5 clear. It's currently looking like match point for the Ferrari, who started in the bottom half. He started in about P15 here, and he looks like he's going to win, as Norris now desperately trying to get away past the Haas. To the inside he goes, up into P2 he goes, but will Bottas fight back? He tries to, just like he tried with Russell, but now Hamilton, he's catching Leclerc. Well, Leclerc's catching Bottas, so Bottas does have more to deal with for the remainder of this race. As he tries to fend off a podium, he's already out of DRS range of Lando Norris, whereas with Russell, he fought another lap as Sainz hit with a mechanical fault. George Russell 4 seconds clear here at Silverstone. Will he be the first? Well, will he win his third race? If he does, he will take the championship lead. If Norris wins here, he holds on to the championship lead, and as long as Russell gets fastest lap, Norris will extend it to 10 points here. But currently looks like George Russell has got it all under control. Théo Pourchaire now all over the back of Lewis Hamilton. At the moment, Ferrari will also be taking the constructors' lead, unless Pourchaire can make a move here on Hamilton and make it now, because otherwise it will be George Russell and Ferrari moving up to the top of the standings. As what I've noticed is every time a new driver takes the lead of championship, their constructor follows through either that race or the next, as there's Pourchaire around the outside of Hamilton. Hamilton just able to hang on with a defensive line. Bottas now has to try and fight back from Leclerc, who overtook into Vale, as it will be, by the looks of it, the top 3 in the drivers get a top 3 here at Silverstone, as there are 5 racing laps to go. Norris not really catching George Russell, as you can have one more glance at their tyre wear. They will all make it to the end safely. as Antonelli. He is 8 seconds off Tsunoda. It's looking very unlikely that he can catch Max Verstappen and Yuki come the end of this race, as Carlos Sainz drops behind Fernando Alonso, who's finally starting to dice his way through the field. And now Yuki Tsunoda, DRS on Max Verstappen. Verstappen jumps to the inside, Yuki trying to hang on, but he will have to sit behind Verstappen for a while longer, as Bottas, he is out of DRS range of Leclerc. Unlike Yuki Tsunoda, can Yuki re-find a top 10? If he does so, he will advance 1 point further ahead from his teammate, and that will just help Mercedes out that tiny bit. But still, Bottas looks almost comfortable to finish in the top 5, and if he does so, he will move his team up into 6th once more. As now 3 laps to go, as Russell starts his 3rd to last lap. Tsunoda around the outside of Verstappen. This is a fight to determine your last point here. Could they even catch Ricciardo? If so, then we'll have a fight over 9th unravel, which could be quite big, especially with Ricciardo currently hanging on in points. However, he will need another place, Ricciardo, if he wants to stay ahead of Haas and Bottas in this championship, and he may also need fastest lap to do it with. And now Tsunoda just outside a second of Ricciardo. Verstappen DRS on the Mercedes to the outside. The Sauber goes, but the Mercedes hangs on here. And now it's the penultimate lap for these two over 10th, as Russell is working his way up and through Cops now into Maggots and Beckett. He goes, as he's very close to winning. He's got 5 seconds over Norris, and who has 4 seconds over Leclerc and 3 seconds over Bottas. It looks almost certain that will be your top 4, as Porsche doesn't seem like he's catching much on the Haas either, as Russell now enters his final lap. Verstappen within DRS range of Daniel Ricciardo. Can he make a move into P9? He's not able to as of yet. Yuki Tsunoda all over the back of the Sauber, has a look to the inside, thinks otherwise. He will hang on into P10 for now. As you can see here, Porsche versus Hamilton versus Perez on the final lap. It's not over yet, but for who it is over for, it is Norris. He is going to yield the championship lead to the Britain Ferrari as Russell wins in Silverstone. Norris takes home 2nd, Leclerc 3rd, Bottas now just in front of Porsche. He's going to drag it home in 4th, as Porsche has a little run to the line. Hamilton 6th, Perez 7th. As you can see here, Verstappen hanging on to P10. Yuki needs to send it here. He has a look. He's just too far back. Verstappen will get your final points playing position, as there is Gasly fighting Sainz here. Sainz, could he go to the inside? No, he won't. And that is Alonso retiring from the race. He fails to make it to the line, runs out of fuel, and that is it finished. Boy oh boy, what a race at Silverstone, as George Russell 14 places, P15 to win with fastest lap. That is a masterclass, a drive of a champion. Will he win the championship though? As Norris P2, he yields his championship lead. Leclerc come home P3 from pole. Valtteri Bottas finishes 4th, Porsche 5th, Hamilton 6th, Perez 7th, Piastri in 8th. He found 9 places. Daniel Ricciardo 9th, Max Verstappen up 6th and 10th, Yuki 11th, Antonelli 12th, Lawson 13th, Gasly 14th, Sainz 15th, Albon 16th, Colapinto in P17, as Behrman down 4 in P18. Isaac Hadjar lost 9 from starting P10. he's in P19, and Alonso, your sole man to fail to finish here, as he comes home P20. But for those who have watched, I hope you all have enjoyed as much as I have, and I'll see you all later for another event as we go to Hungary. Goodbye.